Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we're going to talk about achieving dreams and what Dungeons & Dragons does, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition specifically does for achieving dreams and how it walks people into dream achievement. Let's talk about it. So we're talking about this today. We're so incredibly blessed in America today. We have these incredible television shows, and they're being written by some of the best writers in the world. And I started a new show called Southside. I didn't really expect much from it. I thought it would just be a fun sitcom, but I didn't expect there to be like philosophy up in the middle of it. But boy, is there. It's really fantastic. 5 out of 5 star recommendation on Southside. It's on HBO Max. It's where I'm watching. It's really, really good. It's about two young men who have just graduated community college, and they have really kind of taken the long way around to being achievers. And so they're not like losers because they've, gone to community college and they're trying to better themselves, right? But they've made some bad choices and they continue to make bad choices. So it's like, it's a question of a diamond in rough, right? Like, so, there's still rock on the outside, but, there's diamond in the middle, right? And so one of the characters, his name is Kareme, and he wants to be an astronaut. So all he has is his community college degree, right? And but he works at a furniture rental store, right? And so he goes to the planetarium after he gets his community college degree, and they're like, "No, we're not hiring you at the planetarium, man. Like, all you got is a 2-year degree from a community college, and there are a lot of people ahead of you, right? And so he's like, oh man." So he's discussing with his friend Simon, and they're just walking down the street, and Simon's like, and Simon just got a new job, right? And it stepped up a bit, right? And he says, he says, we're both doing it, and he's like, and so Kareem's like, no, I ain't doing it, man. I didn't get the job, and then he says, and it's just like, he's like, it's a really deep statement, and he's like, my dreams are like the stars, man. They're right in front of my eyes, but they're light years away, right? And it was just a very deep moment in the show, and I was like, he's really trying. He's trying to get there, but there's so many obstacles, and like, he feels like, he just got this degree. He's like, I should be close enough to touch this, but he's also realizing I'm probably going to be working at the furniture rental store for the rest of my life. And you really feel for him. You're like, hey, don't give up, keep going, achieve those dreams, right? When I was thinking about this, I was thinking about achieving dreams, right? And how we get there, and how the game, how Dungeons & Dragons helps us to achieve dreams. And I have to say, I look back at my life, and Dungeons & Dragons has really, really helped me achieve dreams. So what were some of my dreams, and how did I achieve them with the help of Dungeons & Dragons? So one, I really, I didn't want to be alone when I was young. I was like, I think I would really like a partner, right? And so, I had, and so right out of the gate, like, I started playing when I was 12 years old. And when I was in the player seat, right, I learned the following about Dungeons and Dragons, and it has, every single edition has increased this, right? So I started in 1982, and I was a player in 1982. I actually started as a dungeon master, but then, I actually also played within like 2 months of starting. And what I learned from play was like, okay, your player character, their dream is to slay the dragon, get the fortress, right? And so I started at like first level. We didn't slay our first dragon until like level 8, right? And even then, it was just like, it wasn't even an ancient dragon. It was like a lower level dragon. And then I didn't get my fortress until I was level 14, right? And what I learned is that what Dungeons & Dragons says is, if you want to achieve dreams for your player character, this is what's got to happen. You as a player got to show up. You don't show up in a game, ain't nothing going to happen, right? Like, you cannot achieve for your player character if you're not at the table. You show up. That's rule number 1, right? You got 3 other players around the table. They all want to do their own thing, right? And if you ignore them, or if you make a jerk of yourself to them, you're gonna get nixed. You ain't gonna get invited to the next session, right? So you have got to. So in order to achieve your goals, it ain't gonna be by yourself. You need help. You ain't gonna slay a dragon by yourself. You need 3 other people who trust you, who you have been kind and tolerant to, right? And if you treated them like crap, they ain't gonna want you in the group, and you're gonna get expelled from that group. So dreams are not achieved on our own. You are going to need help. You cannot do it alone, right? I learned that when I was 12 years old. Like, I was like, my player character dreamed of being a dragon slayer, dreamed of having a fortress, and I realized quick, I ain't gonna get there by myself. That ain't gonna happen, right? So you got to show up. You have got to treat people with kindness and tolerance. You have to make yourself acceptable to others around you, right? And these lessons go well beyond the game, right? And then also you have to adapt as things go forward, right? So I remember I had to multi-class in order to get some of the things I would need to slay the dragon, right? So you have to show up. You have to be kind and tolerant to the people around you, and you have to adapt on the long journey, and you cannot stop any of them, right? You have to continue to show up. You have to be kind and tolerant. You have to adapt constantly, right? I learned this at 12 years old, right? And then since then, what I've found is if you do these things, you will achieve your dreams in the game. And if you do this exact same thing in real life, you will achieve your dreams, right? So my dreams were the following, right? I really wanted, I really didn't want to be alone. So, I was very fortunate to encounter this beautiful woman, and I showed up. I was very kind and tolerant to her friends and her family, some of which I did not like, right? And I adapted as things went forward, and it worked out. And she accepted my request for a date. She accepted my request to be engaged. She accepted my request to be married. And then we had 4 kids, right? It worked out. The dream worked out. The American dream, right? I was like, well, I got this wife. I want to make sure that she has a nice house, 2 cars, 2 kids, right? We actually doubled that number. And we achieved the American dream, right? And I had to do the things I learned in every version of the game. 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, and 5E, right? And I've literally I've learned these lessons from every single one. And those things do not change. You must show up, right? You must show kindness and tolerance to everybody who you encounter, right? Every IRL and in the game, right? And you must, everybody who's good aligned in the game. And then you must adapt. And these things are, you don't get excused from it, right? And so these really helped me achieve these dreams, right? I also realized there was dreams I wanted that I didn't achieve. One of my dreams in life was to be a famous novelist, right? So I wrote 2 novels, and I did everything I could to sell them. I was able to complete them. I was able to send them out. I got a lot of rejections, and I never got picked up as a professional novelist. But when I was moving forward, I realized, nobody will pay me to write novels as my job, right? But what people will pay me is I'm very good at computers, and if I do this, people will pay me a lot immediately, and so I adapted, right? But I stopped showing up, and I stopped, schmoozing editors and that kind of thing, and that dream, just evaporated, right? So we do get to achieve some dreams. We don't get to achieve every dream, and if you don't do those things, you are going to not achieve those, we don't get every dream. So I have the American dream. I have the dream of not being alone. And also I also have, I would say, several other dreams that have been achieved through what I learned, in Dungeons & Dragons. And the thing I think is great about Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition specifically is when you get in, right? One, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition is going to allow you to build a table much more quickly and much more easily than any other game on the market. Right? So, and then once you start that and you iterate that, you are achieving dream. You're achieving dream. And and here's the thing. So Gary Gygax, his true legacy is Unbound identity, allowing, dungeon masters to speak with 1,000 mouths, live with 1,000 hearts, allowing dungeon players to speak with 100 voices, speak with 100 mouths, live with 100 hearts, right? Also, unbound immersion, right? If we can walk people through the process of achieving great dreams in Dungeons & Dragons for $0 and create stories that are more compelling, more memorable, more emotionally, socially, and intellectually impacting than any video game they can play, any book they can read, anything they will ever encounter. Gygax's true legacy is unbound identity, unbound immersion. What do I mean by unbound immersion? We can bring them to the table for nothing and give them better CGI, unlimited budget for clothes, unlimited budget for the best actors and actresses. Like, we can bring any character we want. We don't have to it's all free. We have an unlimited budget, right? And it's not going to take, if you write a novel, it's going to be a year and a half before it sees print, right? And, but your story can hit the table on Wednesday and you can do a follow-up on Saturday, right? It's not bound by time. It's not bound by money, right? The other thing is you can adjust in real time, right? Video games can't do this. Books can't do this. Movies cannot, and television shows cannot adjust the story as the experiencer changes. But we see the people who are in our games immediately, and this unbound immersion is incredible. It is the true legacy of Gary Gygax. Unbound identity, unbound immersion, and it is unequaled, unmatched anywhere, in with any narrative engine, with any, nothing comes close. We have the best story model ever built by a human being, and it costs $0, right? And we can make achieving a dream achievement a rhythm in these games, and people get connected. They're like, I showed up. I showed kindness and tolerance to everyone around me. I adapted and I succeeded. It worked here in Dungeons & Dragons. It can work in IRL, right? And a lot of DMs have already achieved very real dream achievement in IRL. So they even stand as an example that it can transfer over to IRL for players. All that's my opinion. Have you seen this? Has Dungeons & Dragons been helpful for you achieving your dreams? Or are you stuck in a game where those kind of goals just aren't attached to your game? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.